Hello, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. O here. I'm here today to show you how to do these Ken puzzles. So sit back, relax, enjoy the puzzles. Let's take a look at a worksheet here. Do some of these Ken puzzles. It says here the rules for playing Ken, and you'll find all those there. You can always pause the recording if you want to read them all. But I'm going to explain them. Here's the idea with Ken. You have, we're going to start off pretty simple, 3 by 3. And you have to place, when you have a 3 by 3 square, you can use the digits 1, 2, and 3. That's it. Can't go anything higher than 3. You can't repeat any numbers in any row. Can't repeat any numbers in any column. And basically the last part of this is you need to create a place where this says 12 with multiply. That means all four of these numbers have to multiply to make 12. You see how there's a darker border around this? So no repeats in any row, no repeats in any column, and then within these darker borders, you have to do these things. For example, 6 with a plus. That means this number, and this number need to add up to 6. What are the possibilities? Well, it could be 1 plus 2 plus 3. 2 plus 2 plus 2. Will that work? 2 plus 2 plus 2 is certainly 6. But again, we cannot repeat any numbers in any row or any column. So if I did 2 here, 2 here, and 2 here, that would be too much. All right, so let's start off with some simple stuff. The 3. This is a 3 in a box all by itself, so that's obviously a 3. Here's a 1. This isn't a 1 all by itself, so that's obviously a 1. And now we have to figure out how do we multiply to make 12, and how do we add to make 6. And I'm going to say this has got to be a 1, 2, and a 3. So wouldn't you agree the 1 cannot be here, because there's already a 1 in this row. And the 1 cannot be here, because there's already a 1 in this column. So the 1, if this is going to be a 1, 2, and a 3, the 1 would have to go here. Which means in this row, what's left? The only thing left to put in there is a 2. And on this column here, the only thing left for here is a 3. This has to add up to 6, so this must be a 3. And this here, you're going to have to multiply all these to make 12. So what we notice here, this has to be a 2, because this is a 1 and a 3. So this one has to be a 2. And in this column, you're going to have 1 and a 2. But the 2 can't go in this row, because you already have a 2. So it's going to be like this. 2 times 2 is 4, times 1 is still 4, times 3 is 12. So we've got our 12 there. Let's try one that's a little bit more difficult, 4 by 4. Try one of these together. This one, obviously, we start with, this has a 4 in it, so that's obviously a 4. This also must be a 4. And so, and this is 2, and we're dividing. Now, I only see 2 possibilities here. This could be a 2 and a 1, or a 2 and a 4. Now, when this says dividing or subtraction, the order does not matter. So when I subtract, this says subtract and make 2. This could be a 1 and a 3, or a 2 and a 4. Since we already have a 4 in this row, this has to be a 1 and a 3. All right. Now, again, this is a 4 by 4. So we can use numbers 1 through 4. That's why it's different than 1 through 3 above. That was a 3 by 3. Anyway, if this has to be a 1 and a 3, we don't know what order it comes in. It doesn't have to be a 1 here and a 3 here. It doesn't have to be a 3 here and a 1 here. We don't know. But don't we know for sure this has to be a 2? Because if there's a 4 there, and this is a 1 and a 3, the only missing number would be a 2. So that's one of your tips and tricks. You look, even if you don't know the order of these, you can still use your knowledge of these to figure out what is the missing number below, or on the far right. Right here, I'm going to multiply and make 4. So I see 2 possibilities, and because these numbers are not in the same row and same column, this could be a 1, and a 4. But could it? There's already a 4 here. So if I do 1, 1, and 4, that's going to be error because we already have a 4 in that column. So what's the only other possibility? When you're multiplying to make 4, you can multiply 2, 2, and 1. And if that's the only possibility, I'm going to go ahead and put that. It's not a guess. There's no other way to multiply and make 4. 2, 2, and 1. So I put a 2 here, a 2 here, and a 1 here. Now, if 1 is used, and you look to the far right, these ones have to be divided to make 2. Okay? It could be a 2 divided by 1, or a 4 divided by 2. But we've already used a 1 in this row, so this must be a 4. And now these have to add up to 7. These again have to divide to make 2. If I'm again dividing to make 2, let me double check here. Yeah, divide to make 2. And I already said if I have a divide to make 2, and until I get to a 6 by 6, the only possibilities are going to be a 2 and a 1 and a 4 and a 2. Now when you get to a 6 by 6, it could be a 6 and a 3 that divide to make 2. But for a 4 by 4, my possibilities are 4 and 2 and 2 and 1. And notice the 4 has already been used here and here. So this has to be a 2 and a 1. The 2 has already been used here, so this is my 1 and this is my 2. There's only one missing number here. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's only one missing number here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now if this has to be, you're going to subtract and make 1. I'm not going to be able to put a 2 in there. So 3 minus 2 equals 1, but I've already used a 2 in that column, so I'll use a 4 in that spot. Because 3 and 4, when you subtract 4 minus 3, you get 1. There's only one number left here as 1. There's only one number left here as a 3. And are they a difference of 2? Yes, they are, 1 and 3. All right, only one number missing here is a 1. Only one number missing here is a 3. So 3, 3, and 1 makes 7. And we have completed our second puzzle. Now let me show you how this will look if you try to do it online. All right, let me take you to the World Wide Web. This website is called kenkenpuzzle.com. kenkenpuzzle.com. When you get there, you need to select your size. So if we're sticking with a 4x4, we can go ahead and select your 4x4, and it will take you to, what else did I ask you, what type of difficulty? So we want to put in all of the multiplication, dividing, adding, subtracting. If it asks us that, I think it does ask us on this page. So just kind of waiting around for a second. Here's me waiting. Here we go. There's a 4x4. Add block detected. Oh, so you can log in, or you can take off your ad blocker. So you guys know that they get money from the ads. All right. So here we go. And I will do that obviously in a minute. What do we got here? All right, I'm going to take off the ad block. Okay, and we're back. Ads are gone, or are present. Look, I got an ad right there. All right, so notice this is multiplied by 8, and all you're going to do here is you can go ahead and you can put notes. You can click on the box, and then just enter the number on your keyboard. All right, so if we're playing, let's try to do this. We're going to divide and make 2, and subtract and make 3. Subtracting to make 3, the only choices are 4 and 1 there, right? Which means this has to be a 3 and a 2. And if I do 3 times 2, that's 6, and I'm trying to make 24 here, we know this number has to be a 4. So we can go ahead and put a 4 in that box. How do I know that? This has to be a 3 and a 1 and a 4, which means these two have to be a 2 and a 3. And this is 2 times 3 is 6, and I need to make 24, so this must be a 4. Right, now I'm going to divide here and make 2. Let me get this out of there. If I divide and make 2 here, this has to be a 1 and a 2. If this is a 4 and this is a 1 and a 2, then this one's going to have to be a 3. And how do you make 7? You add 3 and 4, make 7. Here we're going to add and make 4. Could this be a 2 and a 2? No, it could not be a 2 and 2. So we go 4. It's going to have to be a 3 and a 1, which means this box here will have to be a 2. All right, that's good to know. This is a 3 and a 1, and this is a 2 and a 1. So these will have to be, the ones will have to be diagonal from each other here. All right, multiply and make 8. 2. This has to be a 4 and a 1. Can't be a 2, 2, and a 2. If you do 2 and 2 and 2, you get 8, but you would have 2 2s in a row here. So these have to be a 4 and a 1. There's already a 4 in this column, so this one has to be the 1. This one would have to be the 4 over here. and we're well on our way. Doesn't this then have to be a 3? Because we have 1, 2, 4. This one would have to be a 3. All right, that means this must be a 2 because 4 times 3 is 12, times 2 more is 24. This one, when we're dividing to make 2, is a 1 and a 2, so this one's going to have to be the 1. This one's going to have to be the 2. This we already said is a 4 and a 1. We know the 4 is here, so this is going to be our 4 over here, and this will be our 1 over here. All right, these ones have to add up to 4. Cannot be a 2 and a 2. It has to be a 3 and a 1. So wouldn't the 1 have to go here? Because there's already a 1 in this column. The 3 would have to go here. It's taking a minute. Hopefully you're getting the idea of these Ken puzzles, because my computer is not getting the idea. Let me just finish this real quick. This is going to be a 3. This one will be a 3, and this one will be a 2. All right, ladies and gentlemen, happy puzzling. Kens. Hopefully you get better progress than I did with my spinning wheel.